All right, so today we're going to start our rationals units, and if you're okay with factoring, you will be okay with this unit. It's really not that bad. It's one of my favorite to teach. So all we're going to do to begin with is simplifying. We're going to start simplifying, we're going to multiply, we're going to divide, we're going to add, subtract, and then we're going to solve them. So today we're just starting with simplifying. And again, it's literally just marking out. So the first thing that you want to do is factor the top and the bottom and get it as simple as possible. And then after that, if there's anything the same on the top and the bottom, then you're going to mark it out. So if we look at the top, is there anything that we can do to factor the top? Say it again. Take out a 3. We have a GCF of 3, which leaves us with 2p plus 3. Is everybody good with that? On the bottom, we cannot factor it, so we just leave it alone. And then you want to simplify anything that you can. So if we look at this, there's nothing really the same on the top of the bottom, but the 3/9 will reduce. The 3 will reduce to 1. The 9 will reduce to 3. And your final answer is 2p plus 3. And I'm going to keep it in parentheses for right now. I'll eventually stop doing that. Over 3. And the reason that I put it in parentheses is because that cannot be touched. It has to look exactly the same as another set of parentheses, okay? So a lot of people will try to mark out these 3s, but you can't because this 3 is with this 2p. So you got to keep that top part together. Unless it looks exactly like the top, you cannot mark it out. Got it? Does everybody understand that? All right, so then it talks about excluded values. Any variable can cause an excluded value. However, it has to be marked out or it has to be left in the bottom. This one, we didn't mark out any variables and we didn't leave any in the bottom. So this one is perfectly fine with no excluded values. Okay, so we're done with this problem. This is it. Right, so if we look at the next one, we want to factor the top and the bottom if we can. On the top, how can we factor this?
-5 and -2.
We can use the cheater method. And we know it will be -5 and -2. So b minus 5 times b minus 2 on the top. On the bottom, I cannot factor b minus 5. I'm just going to put it in parentheses. Do you have anything that looks the same? The whole b minus 5. And again, that's why I put it in parentheses so you understand that parentheses has to look the same as another one. So this completely cancels out. And then what did we leave? So that's your answer, except for, did we cross out a variable? Yes. So that means somewhere we have an excluded value. If you cross it out, that causes a hole in the graph. So where is that hole at? That hole is wherever this b minus 5 is equal to 0. So whatever you cross out, set it equal to 0. When I solve it, I get b equals 5. And this is how you write your answer. This is a hole. That means it doesn't exist, right? So your solution is going to be b minus 2. And then I put a semicolon. But b cannot equal 5 because it's a hole. So that's what it looks like. Everybody okay? All right. The last thing you'll check is if you left any variables in the bottom. I don't have a denominator on this one, so I didn't do anything there. So we're good so far. Everybody good? All right. So again, you mark it out, top and bottom. You mark out a variable, it causes a hole. Anything left in the bottom, that's a variable. We also have to do the same thing, but we'll talk about it in a minute. Okay. Look at your next one. How do I factor the top? P
-4, -1.
minus 4 and p minus 1. On the bottom, I have a p minus 4. What do I do?
Mark them out.
Mark them out. What is that called?
A hole.
A hole. We have a hole where that equals 0. This is just like any other solving. If your factor is -4, what is your answer? +4. You can do the work, but guys, I don't need to see it. It's fine. So when we simplified, we had p minus 1 left on the top, but we had a hole, so p cannot equal 4. That's it. That's all you did. All right, look at number 4. Again, sorry, just to reiterate, there's nothing left on the bottom, so I don't do anything else, okay? So mark it out as a whole, something left on the bottom, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, all right? On the top, can I factor number 4 on the top? No, so leave it alone, and again, I'm gonna write it in parentheses so that you understand you cannot take it away unless it's something that looks exactly like that. What about the bottom? What can I do? Take out a 5, leaves me with x plus 1. Everybody okay? What do you notice? So that means we have a hole where? A hole at -1. What is our final answer though? What's our final answer? What did we not mark out?
The 5.
And where is that 5? It needs to stay on the bottom. So what do I write? Yes.
1 over 5.
Perfect. So watch that. That's where most, sorry, that 5 is ugly. That's where most people make mistakes. They'll just put a 5 instead of putting 1/5. So make sure that you go back and put that 1 up there if you need to, and then know that it's 1/5. But x cannot equal what? -1. That's your answer. All right. Look at number 5. The top will not factor. It's singular all by itself. There's nothing I can do. What about the bottom? What does it factor into? B plus 4, B plus 1. What happens? They cross out. Remember that leaves a 1 on the top just in case. Okay. I don't usually put it up there, but if you need to put it up there to remind yourself, please do that. What does that cause?
Hole
At. Okay. So my final answer is 1 over b plus 4. This is the first one that we've had with a denominator that has a variable, right? So if there is a denominator that has a variable, we will have a vertical asymptote. Okay, we will have a vertical asymptote. How do you know where that is? You take that denominator, set it equal to 0 and solve. And we get -4. Again, this is an asymptote. Everybody good? So then your answer was 1 over b plus 4. But this time I have 2 values. Sorry, that should be a b. That b cannot equal. It cannot equal the whole at -1. And it cannot equal -4 because that's a vertical asymptote. And if you guys happen to change these to x's, I won't count off on that at all. I do it all the time, just like I just did. Okay, so again, you're looking for 2 things. If you cross it out, it's a hole. If you leave it in the denominator, it's a vertical asymptote. On the top, number 6. Take out a 5. Leaves me with 2n minus 3. On the bottom, I just have 25. You can't factor it. What can I do to simplify this?
5 and 25.
And again, I wrote the 1 up there just so you don't forget it. You don't really need it. Do I have any holes? I didn't cross out any variables, right? So no holes. Do I have any variables left in the bottom? Nope, so I don't have any asymptotes. So this final answer is just your 2n minus 3 over 5. No excluded points whatsoever. Again, unless you mark out or leave a variable in the bottom, you will not have any excluded points. All right. Any questions 1 through 6? Everybody okay? We got number 7. What can I do on number 7? Take out a 5, leaves me with. And then I have R minus 1 on the bottom. What can I do? Calls this what? At positive 1. Yep, a whole at positive 1. My final answer is 5. I don't have anything on the bottom, so I don't have any vertical asymptotes. But R cannot equal what? 1. That's it, y'all. Again, you don't have to show me the work of the holes or the vertical asymptotes. You should be able to do that just by looking at it. If you need to do the work, go ahead and do it, but I don't have to see it, okay? This is what I'm more concerned about. So when I say show work, this is what I'm looking at, okay? So the next one, the n plus 1 will not fix, but on the bottom, what are my factors of -2 that add to -1?
-2, +1.
-2, +1. What can I do? Mark out your n plus 1. What does that mean?
There's a hole at -1.
What else do you have?
Variable on the bottom.
A variable on the bottom that causes an asymptote. I just usually write VA for vertical asymptote. At where? +2. Remember, it's always the opposite of whatever this is. So our final answer is 1 over n minus 2. Sorry, that should be an n. I do that all the time, y'all. But it cannot equal what 2 numbers?
-1 and
-1 and 2. That's it. All right, look at number 9. We're going to do quite a few of these. They get harder as they go, okay? So we're doing the pretty easy ones right now. Look at number 9. 20x will not simplify, but on the bottom, what can I do? Take out a 5. I'm left with 5x minus 3. Can I reduce anything? 20 over 5 reduces to 4, right? Okay. So my final answer is 4x over 5x minus 3. Did I cross any variables out? No. Did I leave variables in the bottom? Yes. If you can't remember how to do it, set it equal to 0. We're going to add the 3, divide by 5. So x cannot equal 3/5. That's it. Is everybody okay? All right, next one. Top will not factor, so we leave it alone. On the bottom, what will factor out? Just 25? 25 and m. Leaves me with m plus 1. What happened? What can I do?
10 and 25 can simplify.
10 and 25 will simplify to what? 2 and 5. What else will simplify? Yeah, these will cancel out, right? If I mark out a variable, what does that cost? A hole. Where is that hole at? Remember, if I set it equal to 0, I'm just going to get 0. Okay, so there's a hole at 0. There's nothing else I can mark out, so I have my final answer, 2 over 5 times m plus 1. Did I leave a variable in the bottom? Where? Where is that vertical asymptote going to be at? -1. We don't care about the 5, just the set of parentheses. So again, m cannot equal our hole at 0 or our vertical asymptote at -1. And I don't care which order you put it in. I just always do the holes first because we end up crossing out first. Okay. They might do it in numeric order and put -1 before 0. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Okay. Check out number 11. All right, what can I take out of number 11? A 9. Lisa with? Lisa with? 9 times.
5x minus 4.
Perfect. On the bottom, what can I take out?
Take out a 3.
More than that, I heard a 9 in here. That's perfect. 2x minus 7. Your 9s will cancel out. Do I have any holes? Nope, I didn't cancel out anything but the 9, so we're good to go. So that means our final answer, our final simplified is 5x minus 4 over 2x minus 7. I don't have a hole, but do I have a vertical asymptote? Where at? Again, if you don't remember, set it equal to 0. We're going to add 7, divide by 2. So x cannot equal 7/2. That's it. Is everybody good? Yes? All right, next one, number 12. What'll come out of this one?
9.
9 and a p. Don't forget that p. Leaves me with 3p minus 5. On the bottom, what'll come out? 45p. Leaves me with p minus 1. Reduce what you can. My numbers will reduce. 9 over 45 reduces to 1/5. Your p's also cancel out, which causes what? At
0.
0. Anytime it's just a plain variable, it's going to be 0. Even if it were like 3p or 4p, whatever, that always causes a 0. So my final reduced is 3p minus 5 over p minus 1. Do I have a variable left in the bottom? Sorry. Yes. No. Oh, sorry. You are correct. I didn't see this 5 hanging out over here. Thank you. Where's my vertical asymptote? That positive 1. So that means p cannot equal 0 and 1. Always tell me if I screw up, please. Any questions so far? Everybody okay? All right, let's look at number 13. What can I take out of 13? A 10 leaves me with a plus 5. On the bottom, factors of 35 that add to 12. A plus 7, a plus 5. This one's pretty easy. What can I do? That means what? Okay. My final reduced answer is 10 over a plus 7. A cannot equal, I know it can't equal negative 5. Do I have any vertical asymptotes?
Negative 7.
Negative 7. Perfect. That's it. Just trying to get a bunch of different factoring types in there just so you guys can see it. So if we look at 14 on the top, how do I factor x squared minus 4? Perfect. Remember, it's perfect squares, so it's pairs and share. One is positive, one is negative. On the bottom, factors of negative 10 that add to negative 3.
Negative 5, 2.
Negative 5 and positive 2. So that means we cancel out our x plus 2. Our final answer is x minus 2 over x minus 5. Don't try to cancel anything out. Remember, they have to stay together. However, x cannot equal, where's our hole?
Negative 2.
And our asymptote, 5. That's it. And again, you don't have to write whole, vertical asymptote, whatever, unless they ask you to identify it specifically. But as far as identifying excluded values, this is the exact way. Okay. Number 15 is exactly the same. 16, 17, 18 is GCF, 19 is GCF. Let's look at 20. What can I take out of 20? Leaves me with P minus 5. Is everybody okay with that? On the bottom, factors of -5 that add to -4.
-5 and 1.
So your 5 will cancel out. So that means we have a whole at 5. On the top, we have 9p squared. On the bottom, we have p plus 1. P cannot equal, where was our whole again? Do we have a vertical asymptote? At -1. All right. So the crappy ones are like 21 and 22. And why are they crappy? 21's not as bad as it looks. Why would 22 be bad?
Because cheater method on both.
22, you have to slide and divide. So it's just going to take more time. It's not hard work. It just takes more time. So on 21, we don't have to use slide and divide. Why do we not have to use slide and divide on 21? Because you have a GCF to pull out first. So make sure that you pull that GCF out first. So on this one, I'm going to pull out the 10 on the top. On the bottom, I'm going to pull out a GCF of 2n, and I'm writing it over here because I know I'm going to have to factor again. Okay. Leaves me with n squared minus 6n plus 5. So what are your factors of 5 that add to -6?
-5, -1.
Okay. So it just gets a little bit bigger. Your 10 and 2 will reduce to 5. Your n minus 5 will mark out. That causes a what? A whole. So the only thing I have left on top is 5. On the bottom, I have n and n minus 1. You said there was a whole at +5. What is this n cause right here? What is it going to be equal to? 0. So that's a vertical asymptote at 0. But it also has a second vertical asymptote at 1. So make sure the more factors you have in the bottom, the more vertical asymptotes you're going to have. That'll work with holes too. It's not necessarily 1 and 1 all the time. All right, I'm going to skip 22 for a minute. We're going to go to the back page of this. I don't want to do 2 slide and divides at one time, so we're going to do just one here. All right, what are your factors of 20 that add to 9 on number 23?
5 and 4.
5 and 4, good job. On the bottom, we're going to do slide and divide if we can. If we don't have to, we're not going to. Check it out. Would I do slide and divide? Be careful. No, don't do it if you don't have to. I can take out a 7. Leaves me with n squared minus 5n plus 6. What are your factors of 6 that add to -5?
-6.
Do I have anything that'll mark out? No, so this is as good as it gets. So sometimes you won't have any holes. It's okay, it's not a big deal. So this is our final answer. I'm going to piggyback onto it though. We do have vertical asymptotes, so n cannot equal what? Look at your bottom. What 2 numbers can it not equal? What'd you say? Nope. Fix it. Not -6, but +6 and -1. So there's your excluded values. I'm trying to find one that's not super crazy. Let's go to 27. I want to show you slide and divide, but I don't want to do it with huge numbers and like stress you out in the very beginning. So let's go to number 27. What'll come out of the top? A v, which leaves me with 2v squared plus 3v minus 9. This one I have to do slide and divide with. So I'm going to slide the 2 over. And I get v squared. I'm going to do it up top so I have room. Plus 3v minus 18. Do I have factors of negative 18 that add to 3?
6 and negative 3.
Plus 6 and minus 3. But I have to do it on my divide. So I have to divide by 2. I get v plus 3. Remember, we throw our bottom to the top if it won't reduce. And 2v minus 3. So on the top, I took out a v, and then I factored into v plus 3 to v minus 3. A lot of times what I'll do is just get a scrap sheet of paper and kind of do that to the side. Okay, kind of do that to the side. But it's up to you. You should have room on your quiz to be able to do these. On the bottom, I don't have a GCF on the bottom, so it's just straight slide and divide. So we're going to slide this over, v squared plus 14v. What is 15 times 3? 45. Do I have factors of 45 that add to 14? Easy ones.
9 and 5.
9 and 5, perfect. I did slide, now I have to divide by 3. 9 over 3 reduces to 3. The second one, the 3 comes up because I can't reduce it. So on the bottom, I didn't take anything out, but I have a v plus 3 and a 3v plus 5. Now you factored, it's back to marking out and finding your holes in asymptote. So what can I mark out? So my final is v times 2v minus 3 over 3v plus 5. We know that v cannot equal what as a whole? Where's our whole?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. And then we'll have a vertical asymptote. And if you guys will go back over here, remember we made it 3v plus 5. We have a positive 5/3. So our horizontal or our vertical asymptote is going to be where? Negative 5/3. So this is your full final answer. Do I need to do another slide and divide, or are y'all okay? Okay, look at 28. 28. The top is easy. Why? You have a GCF of 7b. Leaves me with b squared plus 4b minus 5. What are your factors of negative 5 that add to 4?
Negative 1.
And if y'all can't see it, I'll move it over in just a second. Sorry. All right, so then on the bottom, you still need to see if you have a GCF. Do I have a GCF here? 3. Leaves me with 7b squared plus 33b minus 10. I'm going to do slide and divide. I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 over here so I don't forget about it later on, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put my 3. It's going to be there. Slide your 7 over. So I get b squared plus 33b minus 70. Don't forget, so you can use your calculator to find these factors, just to throw that back out there. I think this is the biggest one we've had that somebody might get confused. We would do negative 70 divide x, and then negative 70 divide x plus x. And then we look in our table for 33. No, let's go in negative. Let's see if we can find any. Yeah, I just want to show them. 35 and negative 2, you see the 33 in the red. So you find it that way. So I get b plus 35 and b minus 2. Don't forget to go back and divide by 7. So my factor is b plus 5 and 7b minus 2. So b plus 5 and 7b minus 2. What can we mark out? Causes a what? Whole. I don't have anything else that I can mark out. See this 7B and this 7B cannot mark out, okay? Keep it in parentheses so it doesn't confuse you. So on the top, I have 7B, B minus 1. On the bottom, I have 3 and 7B minus 2. B cannot equal, what did I cross out? Or where is my whole? -5. Also on the bottom, remember this was -2/7. So where is my vertical asymptote? +2/7. That's your full final answer. Everybody good? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing, stop recording.